Echo, Part 10. Why'd you try to run away in the first place? It's quieter this time around as we head out onto the deserted night street. Seems like things have settled a little, at least. Kudzu's fur is still bristled out on the back of his neck. I'm starting to worry about him. He's been tense, even considering the situation we're in. Keep your eyes peeled anyway. Of course. I've also been sensing a strange sort of tension between the two of them. It can probably be put up to the situation currently at hand, though. We're all on edge. I can see the motel a ways down the road, but ominously, the lights are all out. Duke has gone quiet for the most part. I wonder if he's just given up, or if he's planning something. Hopefully it's the former. I'm not really seeing anything out of the ordinary here. Trust me, things are fucked up. We pass the diner, the moonlight glinting softly off of its metal edges. A dark, sick feeling sets in as I stare at the black windows. That's where it all started. Should we check to see if she's still there? Leo's quiet behind me for a moment, then clears his throat. Don't see why we need to do that. I don't know, to tell the cops about it, or something. If the cops haven't been there, then I'm sure she's still in there. No use looking inside. Alright. Hey, it's going to be okay, alright? Not for Janice. Leo doesn't say anything to that as we continue down the road, finally reaching the motel parking lot. Keep moving. I look behind me and see that Duke stopped, still looking back at the diner. I see something. What? Kudzu stops too and looks back at us. Something. I look at the diner, but I see nothing moving in the windows or in front of it. It's way too dark to see anything in there anyway. Leo prods at Duke's back, but the weasel refuses to move, rooted to the spot. Am I going to have to carry you? Leo lets go of Duke for just a moment, reaching up to turn him around, probably to throw the weasel over his shoulder. But before he can do that, Duke screams long and loud, and it raises all the hairs on the back of my neck. Before Leo can stop him, the weasel takes off into the night, away from the diner, toward a grouping of trees and bushes on the side of the road. Leo curses and immediately goes after him. Kudzu starts to follow. Don't follow me, wait by the car. Leo shouts over his shoulder before disappearing into the brush. Then, more faintly, and watch Chase. Kudzu and I stare into the darkness, listening to the two of them crash through the brush before fading out into silence. After a few moments, Kudzu rubs his head and turns to me. Well, guess we should get to the car then. I frown, not really worried that Duke can do much to Leo, but rather they'll run into someone that could. Shouldn't be that hard to catch him, he's in handcuffs. Duke can be fast when he wants to be. Fuck. I feel like we should have gone with him. I keep staring into the darkness of the brush and Kudzu puts a hand on my shoulder as he passes. Don't worry, Leo can take care of himself, especially when he's up against someone like Duke, a handcuffed Duke. Yeah. Reluctantly, I follow the raccoon. Leo's brief presence has been so strong and reassuring, it's kind of jarring to be without it again. At the same time, though, it's not all that different with Kudzu. Leo's just more overpowering with it, I guess. I fish my keys out of my pocket, then suddenly realise where we're at. Hey, we should check our room. General TJ might be in there, maybe in some of the others. Kudzu looks at the dark motel, scanning the rows of doors. Yeah, we should, but I think we should wait for Leo. Don't really trust anyone right now. I realise he's implying that one of my friends could have gone insane too, and I also realise I can't blame him. From what I saw and what I've heard, TJ might be acting the same way as Duke. That thought causes my stomach to churn sickly. Listen, I gotta pee real quick, okay? Okay. I'm just going to go behind that corner. He points over to the side of the motel. No problem. I'm getting just a little annoyed that everyone is acting like I'm a little kid that needs to be watched. Cool, be right back. Kudzu does a little jog away before disappearing around the corner. I lean back against the door of the car, swinging the keys around a finger. It's completely quiet now, and I haven't heard a single gunshot since we got outside. I wonder if everyone that's been fighting is dead now. Or maybe they just realised how ridiculous the mayor's story was and left. Thinking about the supposed monster I definitely don't believe in, though, has me looking over my shoulder into the darkness. Images of a hanging body crosses my mind. Shit. I look over to where Kudzu went. It's been a little while. Shouldn't he be done by now? Apart from the brush across the street makes me jump. Leo? My voice comes out in a whisper. There's definitely something there. Its form stands out just a shade darker than the trees behind it. It might be a bush, but it looks thin, like a person. I squint at it, and that's when I see the glint of two eyes in the darkness. I freeze. Wherever it is, they're not responding to me, and that's definitely not a good sign. I decide I'm just not going to move until Kudzu gets here. Yeah, and if it does move, I'll just run over to where Kudzu went. I don't think he'll mind me catching him with his pants down into the fucking psychopath chasing after us. I see a thick tail swish out to the side of the dark thing. Slowly I feel behind myself the keyhole to the car door, sliding the key in and unlocking it. Actually, I'll just get in the car and... Footsteps to my right. Duke, his eyes wild, is on me in an instant. He slams into me so hard I'm sent to the asphalt with an impact that rattles my brain. I roll over groggily and I see Duke bent over, his hands fumbling at the ground. Somehow he's moved his handcuffed hands from behind himself to the front. I realise I don't have my keys anymore at the same time that Duke stands up, keys in hand. Kudzu! I yell and reach for Duke, who dodges away, throwing some kicks at me before yanking open my car door. Fuck! I lunge for the handle, but I see the weasel slam down the lock just as I reach it. Kudzu comes running around the corner just as Duke starts up the car. Duke! I shout uselessly at Kudzu as Duke peels out, yanking the handle from my grasp and forcing me to hop back a step to stop from being run over. Of course, I think that Duke's just going to take off down the road and get the hell out of Echo. I have no idea he's going to turn sharply in the parking lot and come straight for me. Chase! Kudzu screams at me just 20 feet away now, but there's no time. The car is coming at me. I jump to the left, but Duke easily follows my movement. I see the license plate and the headlights, which Duke hasn't turned on. I jump and land on the hood of the car as it hits me. I feel like my body is falling through the air. I see the stars and the moon. Then I land. The desert stretches and winds into the distance, rising and falling with the mountains, hills and valleys. It's endless, monolithic, passionless. Except here. Its mark is clear on the land, like a stain, a blemish in the beige patchwork of the wilderness. The earth's bad, the air's bad, everything's tainted. Tainted. The mark is old, it's ancient. Been here longer than people. All people. And they knew it too. Everyone who's been here knows it. So do you, even though you're not from here. You were drawn to the stain like all the other evil that's planted itself here. You can see it right through the otter's eyes. You see its influence stretch above you like black tendrils into a dark red sky. They stretch, search, reach for anything alive to stain anything they touch. So it is, so it will always be. Jace! I stare groggily up at the face above me. A swirling mess of grey and black before I'm able to focus on the nose just inches away from my own. That crosses my eyes, which hurts, so I close them again. Jace! The voice is gentler this time, though no less concerned. I try to reach my hand up to assure whoever it is that I'm fine. I feel the soft, velvety sensation of an ear catch between my fingers, and the person above me stills. What happened? Are you guys okay? I mumble thickly past lips that don't seem to cooperate with words that don't seem to make sense. Are you? He hit you really hard. I feel a hand run over the top of my head like it's looking for something. Did you hit your head? I feel my own head, keeping my other hand resting on Kudzu's head. That's right, Kudzu. I push myself up suddenly, realizing where I am and what just happened. I look around into the night, the surreal feeling of regaining consciousness in this nightmare making it all the more horrific. Shit, where is he? I try to push myself up, but Kudzu holds me down firmly. Duke, he took off. Somewhere? Kudzu looks around, his ears pointed up as if listening before looking back down at me as I try to sit up again. You need to stay down for now. Something might be injured. I think I'm okay. Just a little bit out of it. Kudzu gazes down at me, and for a moment I'm left staring into his deep, dark eyes. That's when the sound of feet slapping against asphalt breaks the spell and Kudzu looks behind himself. What the hell? Duke, just Kudzu is suddenly shoved roughly away and I find myself held up in Leo's arms. What the fuck happened? Leo desperately looks me up and down as he holds me in his arms. Did he shoot you? What? No, he just hit me with a car. I see Leo's eyes widen and his ears shoot up. He suddenly turns his attention on Kudzu, hackles raised. What the fuck were you doing, Kud? Why weren't you watching him? Kudzu flinches back, then glares. He came out of nowhere, Leo. We were both trying to stop him. I can see Leo working himself up to shout something else. That's when I push myself out of his strong grip. Despite the circumstances, I'm bristling at the way I'm being coddled. Leo! He was driving a fucking car. There wasn't anything he could do. Now standing, I feel an achy sensation in my back and my head spins a little. I brace my hands on my knees and wait for it to subside. I don't think you should be standing up so soon. I'm fine. Though now I'm standing, I'm not completely sure of that. Worrying twinges and creaks pang throughout my body, but I force myself to straighten up, facing the other two. We need to keep moving, find the others and get out of here. Leo moves up next to me, a big paw reaching out to wrap around my shoulder. I cringe though when Leo takes his hand back. You need me to carry you, honey? I grimace and shake my head, mostly because I feel like being slung over his back would be even worse. He settles on rubbing my back gently, eyes still looking me over as if trying to spot some unseen injury. Let's get the hell to Peyton. Kudzu coughs awkwardly. We lost the car though. Oh, yeah. My heart sinks. Even now, in the situation we're in, I'm a little angry that it was my car that was stolen. I worked hard to buy that thing, even if it was a junker. Leo shakes his head like it's a mild annoyance. Then we'll just have to use my van instead. Leo looks up the road in the direction of the diner where he left it 2 days ago. Wait, let's at least check the motel, see if any of the others are in our room. Otter, I'm sure the others have already gotten out by now. I mean, we haven't heard anything of any of them, though. Or when they have brought the police or something. Leo looks back at the motel, chewing his lip. Alright, but let's be fucking quick about it. We need to get the hell out of here so we can get everyone help. Yeah, real quick. I reach into my back pocket, pulling out the key card as I hobble in the direction of our room on the other side of the building. Kudzu reaches out to me. You need help? Leo shoulders the raccoon aside as he practically jumps to my side, gently pressing a hand into my back again. Stay close, Otter. I'm not going to let something like that happen to you again. I try to ignore the tension I feel building between the other two. More than anything, I'm annoyed at Leo. Why is he acting like this? Sure, he's always a little jealous, but right now, in the middle of this hellscape of chaos? I shake my head, allowing the wolf to guide me with his hands as we turn the corner to the motel. Kudzu stays close behind us, and I look back at him and give him a small smile, show that I at least appreciated his concern for me. He gives me a short nod back, but otherwise doesn't say anything. Like most of the town, the back of the motel is completely deserted as far as I can see. Another pop that's probably a gunshot echoes in the distance. I'm just thankful they aren't happening every minute like earlier. Again, I wonder if it's because everyone's dead. As fucked up as it is, I think that might be a good thing for us. As long as it doesn't involve any of my friends. We reach the door of the motel and my heart sinks again as I see there's no light coming from the window. Shakily, I raise the keycard to press it against the lock, only to accidentally drop it. I start to bend over to pick it up, but Leo puts a hand on my shoulder, speaking gently into my ear. "Don't move, Otter." He sweeps up the card and presses it to the lock. It flashes green, and I hear the electric buzz of the lock coming unlatched before Leo presses down the door handle, then pauses. His other hand suddenly reaches out behind me toward Kudzu. "Kudzu, hand me my gun. I'll give you Duke's." Kudzu stares at the hand for a moment, then jumps, as if suddenly realizing what the wolf is talking about. "Oh, right." Kudzu lifts his shirt, fumbling with the waistband before pulling out the gun. He hands it to Leo, who in turn hands him Duke's gun. He checks the safety on his own before pointing it towards the door. Leo pauses again and glances at me. "Otter, behind me." Leo nods back to the wall next to the door. I only feel a little twinge of resentment at being treated like a child again, but I'm too eager to check the room to say anything. Finally, Leo gives the door a gentle shove, allowing it to swing open on its own. I can't see anything from behind Leo, but judging by the look on Kudzu's face next to me, they don't see anything. I realise why as Leo slowly reaches inside and flips the light switch. I can't resist and peek around Leo's bulk into the motel room. I don't know what I was expecting. Maybe a blood-splattered room with all of our friends' bodies piled in the middle of something. Instead, though, it's basically just how I remember it. I even see my pyjamas crumbled up on my side of the bed where I left them. Leo holds steady for a moment, keeping the gun pointed at the ceiling of the room. Finally, he leans in, whispering loudly, "Hello?" There's no response. Leo waits just a while longer before finally moving forward slowly. I don't wait for Leo's approval to follow and move closely behind him, Kudzu just behind me. There isn't much to search in the motel room, having just the room and the bathroom to check. Once Leo's sure it's clear, I shut the door and lock it before turning to the other two. "Just so we know that we're safe, for now at least." Leo shakes his head. "We gotta keep moving, Chase. We should head to my place now." I open Jenna's laptop on the table, pushing the power button. "Come on, what are you doing?" Leo shifts his weight from one foot to the other. Kudzu moves to stand next to me. "Checking the internet?" "I was hoping to." I sigh as I stare at a password screen. "Well, let me check with my phone." Leo sighs again. "That's not going to help us." "I have Wi-Fi calling." Leo sighs again and sits heavily on the bed, bending it in like a bow. He sets his gun on the bedside table before rubbing his face vigorously with both hands. "You okay?" Saying that Leo's been on edge is an understatement. And sure, we're all fucked up right now, but the way the wolf's been acting, it's like he's a different person. Leo lets his hand slide down his face so he can peer at me over his fingertips. He examines me for a while, then finally reaches out with both hands. "Come here, Chula." I almost hesitate, and I'm not sure why. I walk over to him and I stand in front of the wolf, where he reaches out and pulls me down into his lap. Then he presses my head against his chest before wrapping his arms around me. He starts stroking the back of my neck gently, and it makes me shiver. It all feels a little forced, and we don't meld together naturally like we always used to. "I'm sorry about letting all of this happen. I should have told the police when Duke started threatening earlier." "Do you know what's happening?" Leo takes in another breath and his broad chest swells against my cheek before blows it out, ruffling the fur on my head. "I don't know. I really don't." I notice Kudzu standing in the side, clearly trying not to look at us. "Any internet?" Kudzu looks up and shakes his head. "No, I can't find a network." "Damn it." Did that bear do anything to you?" The hesitation in Leo's voice makes it clear what he's really asking, and it sounds like he's been wanting to ask it for a while. "No, he just tied me up for a while." I guess technically he did do more, in a way. I don't want to go into that right now. That whole incident actually seems like a long time ago already. Janice's murder, getting Leah raped by Brian, trying to kill Brian. I feel like there's a numbness in my chest that's dampening my emotions right now, and everything feels like it's far away from me. I wonder if that's some kind of psychological response to what's happening, and if I'll be all fucked up after this is over. Probably. But I kind of welcome the numbness right now. It at least helps me deal with what's happening a little easier. Jenna would probably be able to tell me what's happening right now, if she were here. Of course, that makes me wonder where she and the others are. It makes me want to get out there and find them. Because as much as I want to get the hell out of this place, I feel kind of responsible for them. I did drag all of them here, after all. I'm going to get you out of here, I promise. Leo breathes into my ear and squeezes me a little tighter. I have to hold back a wince as a twinge goes through my back. I have a feeling I'm going to be very sore tomorrow. I suddenly lift my head to look back at Kudzu. What time is it? Kudzu takes his phone back out of his pocket to check. 3:45. I stare at him. Are you serious? That means it's only been a little more than an hour since we left Kudzu's place. I was hoping that daylight would be a bit closer than that. Kudzu slumps down in the chair at the table. That's what my phone says. I continue to rest my head against Leo's chest, listening to him breathe. I glance up at him and see that his eyes are closed. He continues to stroke the back of my head. I'm about to tell him that we should get moving again when I think I hear something. It's a soft, snuffling sound, like someone's covering up their sniffing. I lay there against Leo, not moving as I continue to listen. A full 10 seconds go by before it happens again, and this time I think it's coming from below us. Under the bed. I look up at Leo again, wondering how to tell him I heard something without saying it out loud. Honestly, with his massive wolf ears, he should have heard it before I did. I reach up and poke at his chin. Leo shakes his head a bit around the poking, but otherwise doesn't open his eyes. I frown and reach up further, touching his cheek. He leans into it. Leo. I barely whisper at him. Finally he does open his eyes and I point to my own ears, mouthing, listen. I see his ears comically perk up, his eyes looking at the ceiling. I motion down at the bed. I can see Kudzu to the side from his chair, eyeing us curiously, but not saying anything otherwise, thankfully. This time the snuffling sound is quite a bit louder, and I feel Leo's fur rise up on his arms. That was definitely a person, or something living and breathing at least. It definitely came from under the bed. Leo slowly and gently pushes me off his lap, motioning me away. Slowly he leans over and grabs up the gun. Then he stands, backing up away from the bed, then crouching slowly with the gun pointed as he looks under the bed. I see Leo pause, staring. Then he reaches out and grabs whatever it is and yanks hard. Ah! The scream is loud and piercing, whatever it was, sounding like a terrified child. Yeah, I can't get that high, sorry guys. It thrashes and kicks at Leo, and when it's clawing frantically at the carpet to get back under the bed, I realise who it is. TJ? I shout his name, confused and terrified myself. What the hell? Calm down! Leo's got both his hands on TJ's ankles, trying to keep him still while at the same time not getting gouged by the toe claws. I move closer, though not close enough to get clawed by the lynx, and try to crouch in his line of sight. TJ! TJ, it's us! You're okay! The look in his eyes is wild and desperate and feral. I reach out for his wrist and he immediately slashes at me with his other hand. Chase, stay back. I fall back on my butt and scoot away a little, wide-eyed. I've never seen TJ like this. Of course I haven't. I can't imagine what could have made him like this. I scramble up and stand next to Kudzu, who's just as wide-eyed as me. Despite that, he sidesteps a little in front of me as if to shield me from the insane TJ. Leo finally drops the cat's legs, and before TJ can scramble back under the bed, Leo jumps on his back. I wince as I'm sure I can hear TJ deflate like a tyre from Leo's weight. The wolf snatches up TJ's arms, pinning them against his back as he leans over the lynx, shouting into his ear. TJ, stop! Stop fighting! It's me! Leo! Leo! TJ continues to writhe, making weird yowling noises I never heard him make before. TJ, it's me. It's your friends. We're here to help you, man. Leo's voice is quieter now, more soothing as he tries to calm the crazed lynx. It seems to be working so far as TJ's violent thrashing lessens, his yowling fading out to more feeble whining sounds. See, I'm here now. You're going to be fine. Finally, TJ's head falls to the carpet, everything going limp. TJ sits on the bed, cross-legged as he rests his back against the headboard. I gave him a blanket when I saw him shivering, and he's got that draped over his shoulders, holding it tightly around himself. It hasn't stopped the shivering, though. I seem to be the only one he doesn't flinch at when we get close, so I sit next to him on the bed. Awkwardly, I put my arm around him, but he seems to take comfort in that and leans against me. The smell of sweat and piss is strong, but I don't say anything. Leo, meanwhile, sits at the end of the other bed, gently trying to get TJ to tell us what the hell happened. Was someone chasing you? Is someone here? TJ shivers against me and I pat his shoulder. He looks at me then and I see his fur is completely matted to his face, like he's been crying non-stop. I notice bits of dead leaves on his head too, along with some dirt. What the hell had he been doing? Leo continues to prod gently at the lynx with his questions. You can tell us, then we might be able to stop it, or at least watch out for it before we leave. TJ looks at Leo, then opens his mouth, making a squeaking noise. He swallows loudly, then tries again. Do we have any water? It sounds like he has an extremely sore throat. I look over the sink, but Kudzu jumps off the chair he's sitting on and makes his way to it. He grabs up one of the small plastic cups before running the faucet. TJ watches him until the raccoon brings the cup back over. TJ drops the blanket around his shoulders and reaches out eagerly for the cup. We all watch intently as he loudly swallows giant gulps of water before lowering it from his lips and gasping for air. Leo smiles encouragingly. Careful, don't drown yourself. TJ stares, then shivers again much more violently. I grip him more tightly. Are you cold? I grab up the blanket and try to tuck it around his shoulders better. Kinda, not really. I feel cold, but... TJ rubs at his chest. He's still trembling and I realise he might be in shock. I don't know what to do for that. In every TV show I've seen, a person is given a shiny blanket while I sit on the side of the road. So I just continue to rub his shoulder in circular motions, trying to be soothing. I wish Jenna were here. She'd know what to do. He leans against me again though, so I feel like I'm doing the right thing. He holds out the cup to Kudzu again. Could I get some more, please? Sure. Kudzu takes the cup delicately from TJ, like the lynx might break. When Kudzu moves off to the sink again, TJ leans in towards me, whispering. That guy played soccer with us, right? Yeah, he did. Right. TJ goes back to leaning against me and staring at the wall. While this isn't good, he does seem to be getting better. He can recognise us again and remember stuff at least. Leo adjusts himself on the bed, clearing his throat again. Tej, if you can't remember, that's okay. But I just want to make sure that no one's coming after you. TJ blinks and shakes his head. No, I don't think so. Leo waits, but TJ doesn't say anything more. No one? You were hiding, so... Leo clearly doesn't want to upset the lynx, but it makes sense why he wants to know. If there's someone lurking out there hunting TJ down, we could be in a lot of danger right now. We have to wait though as Kudzu comes back with a cup. TJ takes a few more big gulps before looking back up at Leo. I thought I saw something. I keep seeing things. I think I need to go home. I stare hard at TJ, studying him. I don't know why, but I guess I thought we'd all be exempt from this hysteria. I knew we were all normal, at least to an extent. This whole crazy chaos seemed too foreign, too different for it to affect my friends, people I know that are grounded, normal people. That's exactly what TJ was. And now... Leo stands up and steps closer, sitting down slowly next to TJ on the opposite side of the bed. We are going to go home, Teach. We just have to go on a walk to get my car first. Leo reaches out and sets a hand on TJ's leg. I'm glad to see he doesn't flinch at all. He's really calming down. Okay. TJ suddenly opens up the blanket around himself, staring down at his clothes. I see his nose twitching and the skin on the inside of his ears flushes. Can I take a shower? Leo pauses, clearly not having expected that. Well, we really need to get going. Don't you want to get home and take a shower there? TJ's put the blanket back over himself, trying to hide his pants. I just like to feel clean again. I feel like it might be a good thing for him to clean off, maybe have some alone time. I give Leo a meaningful look as I lower my voice gently for TJ. Sure, man, we'll wait. TJ slowly pushes himself off the bed to stand on unsteady legs. Both of his hands not so subtly shield his crotch as he walks to the dresser. Okay, just don't leave, okay? We won't. Leo's still using his talking to a toddler voice. The wolf gives me a frustrated look, but I ignore it. And I'm going to leave the door open, so if something happens, just yell. It's fine, and nothing's going to happen, okay? Yeah, okay. TJ pulls out some pants for the dresser before making his way to the bathroom. He keeps glancing back at us like we're going to disappear if he looks away too long. I've tried to give him a cheerful smile until he finally disappears into the bathroom. We sit around in a sort of circle in the motel room, Leo and I on the beds, Kudzu in the chair. We keep our voices low as we discuss what's going on, not wanting TJ to hear. This doesn't make sense. TJ's one of the most rational people I know. How is this affecting him? We don't know what's causing it, though. I don't know. I thought it was drugs or something. They all just took the same drug? I don't know. Or maybe they're all crazy because of drugs and something set it off. Well, TJ is religious. So if he believes in that, then maybe it could go further than that? I shake my head. No, that doesn't make sense. People in cults do it all the time. But he's not in a cult. It's all kind of the same thing if you think about it. Your whole family is super religious, Leo. Yeah, so I have first-hand experience with all of it. Leo chuckles despite the situation. It makes me wonder if this is something more than what's in everyone's head, if even TJ's having it happen. Kudzu taps his chin from the chair he's sitting in. What was it Duke was saying about his grandpa? Something about a curse? Leo waves his hand like he's swatting away a fly. Poor Shika! Speaking of shit that doesn't make sense. Kudzu shrugs. I'm starting to wonder. I fold my arms and look toward the bathroom where steam is wafting from TJ's shower. Well, stop wondering. I don't want you ending up like them. I frown and glance back at the bathroom before lowering my voice. Like TJ? Leo sighs. No, one of those fuckers probably freaked him out or something. We did say he was seeing things. Leo suddenly stands up from his sitting position on the bed. You know what? We should just stop talking about this. We'll leave him once he's done anyway. As if on cue, the water shuts off and the automatic dryer starts up. Right after that, TJ's meek voice pipes up from inside the bathroom. You guys still there? I call back gently, cheerfully. We here, TJ. Leo sighs and moves to the window to look outside, pulling back the curtain just a bit. Think the others are out there right now? Your friends? Yeah, Jenna, Carl, Flynn. I don't know why I hesitated with Flynn's name. Leo silently stares out the window a while longer, the yellow light of the streetlight falling across his face momentarily. He lets it drop back into place. With any luck, they got the hell out of here when this started. Like I said, if they did, then they would have brought someone back. Really? If anyone got out, then they would have. Leo doesn't say anything, electing to lift the gun that he's had clutched in his hand this entire time to examine it. Does that mean no one's gotten out of here? There's a momentary silence. Hello? We're still here, TJ. Kudzu shifts in the chair. Well, a lot of us Yeah, I have relations outside the town. Family and work in Peyton. In fact, Pedro checks his phone again. I'm supposed to be into work in like 5 hours. Someone's going to notice. Maybe we should wait until morning? Someone's got to be looking for someone here by then. Leo thrusts the gun back into his waistband resolutely. Nope. Relying on other people has gotten us nowhere. We've got to help ourselves. You might have a point, Leo. Your friend looks in pretty bad shape, like mentally. Then I'll carry his ass to the van. I'm not leaving any of you behind. Leo stops and I follow his gaze to the bathroom where TJ stepped out, his fur a little damp and spiky from his shower and a fresh change of clothes. He stands there awkwardly a moment, rubbing his arm as we all stare at him. Hey, how you feeling? I'm fine. Things are more clear now. Leo smiles gently. Good. So you remember who we all are? TJ smiles weakly. Yeah, again, things are clear. And you guys don't have to talk to me like that. Like I'm crazy. Ah, sorry. I clear my throat and try to assume a less I'm talking to a crazy person tone. Do you think you can make it to Leo's? We can stay here if you want. Wait for someone to find us. I ignore Leo's exasperated sigh from behind me. TJ glances at the bed. I'd like to just lay down, but... He looks back up at us, clasping his hands together. I think something is happening here. Doing something to our heads? I don't know. Leo narrows his eyes. What do you mean? TJ looks off to the side. I just saw things that shouldn't be here. This has never happened to me before, so... TJ looks down at his hands. I remember someone was chasing me, trying to grab me, and I scratched at it. TJ looks back at us. And it was Jenna, but I was too scared. I didn't know if it was really her or not, so I ran, and she didn't follow me. TJ's starting to shiver again. What did she look like when you didn't know if it's her exactly? TJ frowns, opens his mouth to say something, then closes it again. Finally, he looks at Leo, apparently deciding to ignore the question. Can we find her? I can't stop thinking about it, and I want to make sure she's okay. His voice gets a little broken, but he manages to control his tears this time. Leo grimaces. We really need to go, TJ. The faster we can get help, the faster we can help everyone here, including Jenna. The corners of TJ's mouth tug down in a frown, but he doesn't say anything. But if we see her on the way, of course we'll bring her with us, okay? TJ's still looking like he's trying not to cry, but nods quickly. Leo rolls his shoulders, keeping the gun pointed at the ground as he moves to the door. Now everyone, stay close to me. Chase, keep with TJ. Kudzu, you bring up the rear. Got it? All right. We're just going to head up the street to the diner, not far at all. I look up at TJ, trying to give him a reassuring smile. He's still looking at his hands, though, so I move over to him, putting an arm around his shoulder, gently guiding him to the door. The trek to the diner practically silent compared to just a few hours ago. Aside from the nightlife, there's no screaming or shooting. The way there is fairly straightforward, straight down Main Street. However, we decide to cut through backyards instead of using the road. Leo tells us it's the best way not to be seen, if there are people around. TJ keeps close to me, wanting me to keep my arm around his shoulder as we move, his eyes either squeezed shut or staring straight ahead. It's like we're moving through a haunted house and he's too terrified to look in either direction. It does get too difficult to keep him that close, though, especially as we start to have to move through bushes and hop fences. I opt to hold his hand instead. In any other situation, I'm sure TJ would have been running for the hills in embarrassment, but he clings to me like he's never going to let go. We all move in silence through the brush. The quiet is actually almost as unnerving as the shouts and gunshots were. As we move under a few stray trees, I try to keep the memory of seeing the corpse strung up out of my head. There's no way a demon or whatever they said it was did that. It was one of the town crazies, killed and then mutilated that person to convince us of their delusions. There's 4 of us now and 2 of us have guns. We're going to be fine. We get to the diner after only about 5 minutes, though most of it is spent floundering through the brush and old broken fences. Because of the meandering, we actually miss it and have to backtrack. Cautiously, we make our way around the diner to the parking lot and immediately spot the lone van. When we finally do get there, Leo jogs up to his van, shoving a hand into his pocket. Then he freezes and stares down. Fuck! Me and TJ arrive next to Leo, and TJ finally lets go of my hand. What is it? I ask, but I see the problem at the same time that I do. The two tires that I can see are brutally slashed and completely flat. I'd bet that the other two are in the same way. Leo puts his hands up to his face, rubbing his eyes vigorously with his palms. Well, who did that? TJ reaches out and grasps my hand again. Clint moves over to the other side of the van to inspect it. Brian. Leo growls out the name. How do you know? Leo doesn't say anything, sitting down on his haunches as he stares at the completely destroyed wheel. Who's that? TJ asks quietly from beside me, studying my expression. I wonder if I should tell him. Probably not. Him scared of seeing things is bad enough. We don't need TJ to be worried about an actual person who's out to kill us. I'd actually completely forgotten about the bear up until this point. If it truly was him, then we're in even more danger than I'd thought. It's just another person that we saw, acting weird. It's alright. TJ doesn't seem to take much comfort in that, staring at the tyres. Whether or not it was Brian, whoever it was had done a number on the tyres, completely tearing the rear tyre to shreds. Kudzu comes around from the side of the van, shaking his head. The two tyres are the same. How far do you think we get on flats? Leo lets out a ragged growl, standing back up. Not far enough. We'd probably get to the lake before the goddamn wheels fell off. Leo stands there thinking. Should we just go back to the motel? Leo shakes his head. No, I'm not staying here another minute. I'd rather start walking, actually. To the highway? That'd take half the day. Well, at least we'd be getting somewhere instead of sitting around here. I look down Main Street towards the darkness of the lake and desert. The ominous feeling I get is overwhelming, like I have no doubt that if we set out into the desert we wouldn't last long at all. I don't know why. I shudder violently and TJ glances at me. He squeezes my hand and I find it funny how quickly the role of the one doing the reassuring has flipped. I think we should go back to the motel. Leo finally looks back at me and I see his expression soften. Hey, Otter, it's going to be fine. I'm going to get us out of here, okay? I notice the same tone he'd used with TJ earlier. He sets his hands on my shoulders, but I honestly don't feel very reassured. TJ pipes up from next to me. Carl. Carl's house has some cars. Maybe he's there and we could leave with him in the car. Leo looks out toward the mountain range at Carl's house. We can't see it since all the lights are apparently off. Maybe. If he's not there, we could just break in. I see TJ blanch next to me. Even now he's battling his moral values versus our need to survive. I still just want to go to the motel, hole up in there and wait. Maybe sleep. I'd give everything just to be able to lay down somewhere safe right now. But now, with the new possible factor Brian, I can see the benefit of getting the hell out of here now. Alright. Leo sets his jaw, narrowing his eyes. Let's go. Remember to stay close. We don't bother going off-road on the way to Carl's place, mainly because we'd just be trudging through sagebrush full of ticks at that point. Leo figures that since Carl's house is the only thing up this road, or aside from through the canyon to nowhere, no one would be driving there anyway. It takes us about 20 minutes to get there, walking in silence up the cracked road, the only sounds are panting. I'm the loudest considering my short legs, also I'm probably the most out of shape compared to the others. When we're close to the mansion I look back down toward Echo. Only a few of the streetlights dot the small town. I don't see anyone on the roads near them. I see a window or two here and there with the lights on, but no movement from within. We only hear two sounds on our trek. One is a blood-curdling scream coming from the town behind us. A woman. TJ reaches out again for my hand when that happens, and I squeeze his comfortingly. The next, a few minutes later, is a faint laughter coming from further away that rises in pitch before fading back out. I grimace, wondering if anyone else heard it, or if it came in from inside my head. No one says anything, I don't ask. By the time we reach the mansion, I'm covered in sweat and keep adjusting my shirt uncomfortably as it sticks to my chest and shoulders. The garage door is closed and there aren't any cars in the driveway. I wonder if maybe Carl already took off. I hope he did. We stand in front of the door and Leo holds out a hand to us, motioning us to be quiet. I watch his ears poke up to full extension before he moves to the glass on the door, cupping both hands over his eyes to peer inside. We wait a tense moment and I wonder if maybe he's looking in on something horrific. But after a while Leo pulls back, shaking his head. Can't hear or see anything. Maybe he left, or he's with one of the others? Kudzu offers quietly, standing just behind me. Maybe. Leo appears to be thinking hard, and he reaches out the doorbell with an index finger. He hesitates for a full 2 seconds before pressing it. The fancy chimes ring softly from inside. I notice Leo's got a hand on his gun, watching through the glass intently. I also notice not only is TJ pressing close to me, but so is Kudzu from the other side, his shoulders slightly ahead of mine. It's almost like he's shielding me. A minute goes by before Leo tries again. We wait another minute before Leo lets out a ragged sigh. Whether it's from relief or frustration, I'm not sure which. Considering what's happening, you think some people from the town would have come here to loot or something? Yeah. I look back at the town, its few glints of light staring ominously back. I'm able to suppress my shiver this time. I turn back just in time to see Leo try the door, and, to my amazement, it opens. Leo seems surprised too, and lets go to let the door slowly swing open. We all stare into the blackness beyond, a few lights from the TV glowing in the darkness. Should we go in? Leo clears his throat. Well, we got to get the keys somehow. Leo steps inside slowly, hand reaching along the wall to find a light switch. He finds it, though the light only illuminates the foyer, the house going from goddamn dark to slightly less goddamn dark. It's just Carl's kitchen, though. Nothing seems to be out of place as far as I can see. I start to step forward too, but I can feel TJ hesitate on my hand. I look back at him. You alright? He's staring into Carl's house, his eyes wide. Yeah, I'm good. It's probably safer inside anyway, right? TJ swallows and finally steps in with me, Kudzu following close behind. The mansion is pleasantly cool against my sweaty fur. There's something strangely comforting about something as simple as the AC still running. A sense of normalcy. Leo stands there looking around intently before moving to the cupboards. He starts opening drawers, searching the counter, looking for keys. I leave TJ to huddle on the couch before moving to the kitchen myself. Hey, can we look for Carl too? Leo pushes closed a drawer full of silverware. Yeah, give me a sec. I sigh. I'll be fine. It'll be faster if I look for him while you look for keys. Leo shakes his head. Gotta stick together. I suppress another sigh and move back to the living room. Somehow, TJ's already managed to fall into a doze, curled up in a small ball on the couch. How are you doing? I look over at Kudzu, who's got his arms folded, watching me closely. I'm doing okay, just kind of tense. Kudzu gives me one of his rare smiles at that. No kidding. Yeah. I glance over at Leo, starting to rifle through some drawers for what look like open letters. What's up? I look back at Kudzu. I'm just thinking about Carl, if he's here or not. Ah. I glance back at Leo. Hey, Leo wants us to stick together, but... I look back at Kudzu. You want to help me find Carl? Maybe you sweep the upstairs and I'll have a look in the basement real quick. Kudzu glances at Leo as well. It'll make things go a bit faster. Yeah, I think he'll be fine. I don't think anyone's in this house. Kudzu nods toward the window facing the town. From what I've seen, people are mostly wrapped up in their own issues. Yeah, I don't think anyone's interested in looting here. Well, all right. I'll take a quick look upstairs. I smile. Cool. I'll take a quick look downstairs. Oh, and keep a lookout for keys too. and with that we both move to the staircase. I give Leo one last glance to make sure he's not watching before we both head in our respective upward and downward directions. I flip on the light switch to head into the basement. It's only when I stare into the dark hole I'm heading toward that I get the first inklings of fear. I shake my head, remembering what Kudzu had said. If anyone's here, it's definitely only Carl, and that would be a good thing. If we can find him, we can bring him with us, and we'll be on our way out of this hellhole. I tell myself this as I bounce quickly down the stairs, wanting to get this over with as soon as possible. Now in the basement, I glance around quickly into the several doors down here. A storage room, a weight room, a video game looking room. I start to realise that if Carl is here, he's most likely upstairs, and really just giving the basement a cursory check. I start to rush through, not wanting to take too long in case Leo notices, if he hasn't already. I reach the end of the long basement hallway and I'm left looking into a smaller room. There's a tiny white wooden door that I assume leads to the crawl space. I stare at it for a moment, not even thinking to bother with it, until I see little white hoof prints. There are several of them, like someone came and went dozens of times into and out of the crawl space. I look back behind myself, feeling a chill run up my spine, like someone's watching me. Looking back at the prints, I notice the little door is just slightly open. Could Carl be in there? I remember they'd been down here and we couldn't find him during the birthday party. That moment I catch a glimpse of something poking out from the door. It's skinny and hairy and very long, maybe 6 inches in length. I stare at it, wondering if it's a Halloween decoration stored under there. Chase! Leo's voice booming down the stairs makes me jump a foot in the air. I don't have time to stare at the black thing any longer, instead stumble down the hall towards the sound of Leo's voice. The icy glare directed at me as I move up the stairs actually makes me cower a little bit. I'm not used to having his monolithic anger directed at me. I told you to stick together. His voice rumbles out at me. Sorry, I found something. Well, Kudzu did too. Carl's upstairs. What? The thoughts of the hoofprints disappear from my mind immediately. He told me you were down here. Come on. More gently now, he grasps my hand and pulls me the rest of the way upstairs. I'm expecting us to turn into Carl's room, but instead we go further toward the end of the hall. I think this is where Carl's parents' bedroom is. Carl's lying on the bed looking over at TJ, who's in the middle of it, talking to him from the side. He glances our way when we enter the room. Leo? Chase? He squints at us like he's having trouble focusing. I smile and sigh with relief. Carl. I move to the side of the bed next to TJ. That's when I see that the ram is covered in a white-looking chalk substance. Reminds me of the prints downstairs. It's all over his horns, and a bit of what looks like drywall is covering the pillow around his head. What happened? Are you okay? Were you just taking a nap? Easy, Leo says to me, so I shut my mouth. TJ reaches out and grabs at one of Carl's big hands. The ram just stares at the ceiling now, looking just as confused as we are. I look over at Kudzu, who's standing a little off to the side, like he did when we were trying to talk to TJ. What happened? I mumble at the raccoon, and Kudzu moves a little closer. I don't know. I just came in and I thought he was taking a nap or something. I glance back at Carl, watching as TJ starts to gently pet his forehead. But he wasn't. Kudzu shrugs. He was sort of, I don't know, he was sweating and mumbling. I kept calling his name like really loudly, the point that Leo came up. Carl starts to breathe heavily and he covers his face. I think he's crying, so I step back a bit with Kudzu, not wanting to crowd him as TJ leans over and hugs him. It wasn't until Leo touched him that he woke up, like really suddenly. Huh. No, I'm fine. Carl lets out a weird, shaky laugh as he sits up, wiping his eyes. I was just having a really fucked up dream. Felt like I was in it for hours, man. Carl leans back on his hand, staring at the ceiling again. I had a dream that the town went fucking insane, then ran back here and sort of just went downstairs, and then I was gone. Gone? Where? Carl shakes his head. I don't know, a hotel or something? A few hallways that went in circles and I couldn't get out or wake up. Carl looks back at us. Even now I don't know if I'm dreaming. At least there's people around. Carl shakes his head, a cloud of dust coming up from the fur. What are you guys doing here anyway? Actually, the town did go a bit strange. What, really? Leo seems to hesitate, clearly not wanting to rile up Carl more than he already is. Yeah, but we're trying to leave. Actually, that's why we're here. We need a car. So what I saw in the town, however long ago that was, it really happened? Maybe. Like people running around, shooting and stuff. Leo doesn't say anything to that. Why do you need my car? What about your van? It broke down. Carl narrows his eyes. How? Listen, we'll tell you everything on the way. We just need to get out of here now. TJ picks some of the bits of white chalk from Carl's head fur. What's all over you? Carl runs a hand over his head, bringing it away to find it covered in white dust. Ran into the wall. Oh. Carl suddenly points at my arm. Dude, what happened? Huh? Oh. I lift up my arm and remember the cut that I got from the broken window. The fur is heavily matted down with blood. The jagged cut is still oozing a little. Long story. We'll explain, like Leo said. The ram stares at the cut, so I lower my arm. Seems to be finally settling in for Carl that things are not right. I've also realised that none of us are immune to the new hysteria setting into the town. Is this what it was like for all those people living in the town over 100 years ago? I managed to think humorously to myself that I actually did do what I set out to when I started the project. It's pretty clear that it's happening all over again. So you got your keys? We need to get the hell out of here and get this town some help. Yeah, I'll get them from my room. We pull quietly out of the driveway in Carl's car, which makes almost no sound since it's a hybrid. Leo's driving, of course. Carl's still woozy and Leo actually had to help him walk around to find the keys. I sit in the back between Carl and TJ while Kudzu sits in the passenger seat next to Leo. I'd overheard Leo mumbling to Kudzu to sit next to him while I'd help Carl into the car. Something about them needing to be able to get out of the car quickly with their guns if things went down. Leo doesn't floor it like I expected him to, but we move down the bench of the mountain and through the town speedily enough. I see TJ look out of his own window intently. I can only imagine it to see if he can spot Jenna, maybe even Flynn. Dude, I don't feel so good. Carl mumbles next to me, both hands on his stomach, twisting at the fabric of his hoodie. Just puke on the floor if you have to. I don't think Leo's going to stop. Carl leans over and puts his head between his knees, groaning. That gets TJ's attention. He starts rubbing the ram's back slowly. Good thing it feels like there's nothing in me. So what the hell is going on? Where's Jenna? TJ frowns. We don't know. What happened then? I take a deep breath, trying to figure out how to explain. Well, we're not sure what's going on everywhere, but on Saturday I was at the diner with Leo. I go through my story as quickly as I can, explain to Carl what's been going on. The rest of the car is quiet, so I get anxious when I get to the part about Brian and skip over it as much as I can. I only mention that he held me there for a day. By the time I finish, we're already passing the lake. Huh. So is it Sunday already? Sunday morning? Yeah, I guess so. So I was out a whole fucking day? I don't say anything in response. What happened to you, Teej? Are you okay? Carl turns his gaze on TJ, who just nods. Yeah, I was seeing things too. People chasing me. I'm okay now, though. TJ actually does seem pretty stable now after everything that's happened. Maybe taking care of Carl is taking his mind off whatever happened to him. Either way, he doesn't expand on what he saw. Carl shivers and puts his head back down while TJ continues to rub his back. A few minutes of silence go by before Carl speaks up again. That feels kinda nice. Reminds me of my mom. Yeah, actually my mom did it too. Thought it might help. Hey, I love you, just so you know. All of you guys. I'm glad I'm not in that place anymore. I love you too, Carl, and everyone else. You too, Raccoon Man. Thanks. Yeah, I affirm my own love for everyone. Kudzu glances back at us before turning his attention out his own window. Leo doesn't say anything from the front, his focus solely on the road ahead of him. I watch the desert whip by us, the first time feeling somewhat safe as the town disappears behind us. But of course, it doesn't last long. What's that? On the side of the road there? Leo turns his head in the direction that Kudzu points. We all do. What we see changes everything for me from that point on. Sure, things were crazy and I had a hard time believing anything was happening, but it was explainable. People like Duke, Brian, TJ, even Carl were all seeing things. It was kind of a distant thing, in a way. Something everyone else was experiencing. Something I was exempt from. But now, there it is. Something I can't explain right in front of me. What is that? Oh my gosh! TJ covers his mouth. Carl sits up straight trying to see. Leo slows down as we pass. There's my car, all of the windows shattered. And there's Duke, lying a dozen feet away from the open door of the driver's side. And there, crouching over him, is something I can't explain. Hairless, body and limbs long. Way too long. The head comes up, and all I see are 3 holes and blood. TJ screams next to me, and Leo shouts something before stepping on the gas, slamming me back into my seat. I try to look back, but whatever it was is gone. At least, it's gone from where it was, because I see something move next to my window and I turn to face it. And it stares back at me. But only for a moment. That thing, whatever the fuck it is, disappears almost the instant I register that it's there. I'm only staring out into the blackness of the desert. Still, 3 holes, eyes and a mouth blink back at me in a sort of after-image before that too vanishes. What was that? What was that? TJ's grabbing my arm, claws digging painfully into my skin. I'm too shocked to even pull away as TJ leans forward next to me, staring out my window. At least I know I'm not the only one that saw it. TJ squeaks again when no one answers him. What was it? I don't know, some kind of animal maybe? I've never seen anything like that before. Could have had a disease, lost all its fur or something? Maybe Duke hit it. But it was walking! TJ's arm is looped around mine and I can feel his body shaking. I look over my shoulder through the back window. At this point my car is a good distance away, only visible because the headlights are on, a streak of light fading out across the desert. Duke, is he? Some dry retching noises followed by heavy splattering sounds cuts me off. Carl is hunched over in the seat, head between his legs. It isn't hard to figure out what just happened, especially when the smell hits me. Oh my gosh, Carl! TJ looks torn between blanching away and comforting the ram. Carl comes back up, looking like he's about to say something before diving forward again. A much louder retch followed by a much quieter plopping sound follows. I grimace, feeling my own stomach roil. God. Kudzu's looking back at us, a paw up to his nose. You okay? Carl keeps his head down a while longer, his fingers twisting the fabric of his shorts. TJ tentatively rubs his back. I would have done out the window. I don't open any of the windows now, though. It's okay. Leo, are there any napkins up there? Leo, who had been silent up to now, remains silent. He's staring out of the windshield hard, paws on the wheel in a death grip. After a moment of silence, Kudzu checks the cup holders and drops open the glove compartment. After rummaging around for a minute, he pulls out a stack of fast food style napkins. He hands them back to Carl, who starts mopping up whatever mess he's made on himself. During all this, I'm still glancing out of the windows. Not head on though, because I'm terrified I'm going to look straight into those eyes again. We drive in silence for the next 5 minutes with no creature in sight, thankfully. I don't know what to think right now. There's no way what I saw was some animal like Kudzu implied. The way it moved, the way it was crouched, and most of all, its face. I've never seen anything like it, at least anything that's not a Halloween costume. Maybe when the locals dressed up in a costume or something? Then how the fuck did they keep up with the car? Were we going that fast? Leo did slow down a little. I keep these thoughts to myself. Everyone looks freaked out enough without any more speculation. So instead I lean back in my seat, deciding to just close my eyes. We're on our way out and soon I'll be safe in a police station or a hospital or something. It'll be explained when the cops get you. I try not to think about Duke on the ground, Janice in the diner, Jenna out there somewhere with that thing. I shake my head, eyes still closed. Are you okay, Chase? TJ's arm is still around mine, the places where our furs press together getting hot and sweaty. I don't mind though, as long as it brings him some comfort. Yeah, I'm just tired. Actually, now that I mention it, I am pretty tired. I didn't exactly get much sleep in Kutsu's trailer, or Brian's. I start to drift off, my head bumps gently against the headrest, the soft whir of the AC on my forehead. What the fuck? The car lurches as Leo slows us down again. Reluctantly I open my eyes, half expecting to see some other kind of nightmarish ghoul out the window. But I don't see anything, just the road stretching ahead of us. What's wrong? Leo's quiet for a moment. I can't see his face since I'm right behind him, but I can see the outline of his twitching ears. I don't... Leo turns in his seat, looking out the passenger window, then his own. I'm heading the right way, right? I look out the window as well, not seeing anything except sagebrush and cacti. Then I do notice something. The mountains, which have been on the right, are now on my left, rising up ominously in the distance. Had we turned around somehow? Unless we're on the highway, which we definitely aren't. This road merges right onto the highway. There's no way we can miss it. I hear TJ gasp softly next to me. I look over at him, but he's looking straight ahead out the windshield. I do the same. In the distance I can see headlights off the side of the road. No way. What is it? Leo brings the car to a hard stop, throwing me forward into the seatbelt. Then he does a quick three-point turn, shoving me right then left from smack back into the seat as Leo accelerates again. Oh, careful. My parents will kill me if you fuck up their ride. Carl laughs nervously, but no one pays attention to him. There's no fucking way. I was going straight. There's that side road that takes you to some of the trails. Maybe we sort of went off on... Leo snaps at the link suddenly. There is no way, TJ. That road is fucking gravel. I would have noticed. Leo's hunched in his seat like an angry dad, staring at the windshield, his ears practically dancing on his head. I can feel TJ trembling, so I lean into him a bit, let him know that I'm there. It's clear that Leo doesn't want any talking, so we're all quiet. This time I keep my eyes open, staring out the window in case Leo did get sidetracked somehow. I focus on the mountains, making sure that they don't disappear. They slope up and down gently into the moonlight, speckled with the dark spots of rock and vegetation. Vaguely, I remember back when I'd been obsessed with skateboarding, I'd always imagined myself skating those slopes on car trips to Peyton. Up and down, up and down. If only Echo had anything like that. The only slope we had was the one down from Carl's mansion, and it was way too big. I tried to skateboard down it once, but that ended in disaster when... I blink, staring out the window as the mountains just disappear, slope down into nothing. I squint, then look out Carl's window. Sure enough, mountains. Leo. I know! Leo speeds up instead of turning around though. This is im-fucking-possible! What are you doing? TJ's claws come out against my skin again as he gets that scared cat look in his eyes. Leo mumbles mostly to himself. There's no way we're going back to Echo. Leo, slow down a little. Leo lets out a small growl, but relents and TJ's grip on my arm loosens some. I'm going to keep going until I see that car, because I sure as hell didn't turn around that time. The tone in Leo's voice keeps any of us from arguing. Though I hate to admit it, something about his demeanour has me just as scared as him as I am of whatever it is out there. A minute of driving, more awkward silence then. Leo hisses through his teeth. Straight ahead of us the headlights appear. What? I must be dreaming. It's like we're stuck in some kind of loop. Leo slows down more and more until we come to a gentle stop. We sit there in silence, staring at my car about 100 yards in front of us. Leo starts muttering darkly to himself, looking out the windows, looking at the dashboard. I want to ask him if he's okay. I know what the answer is. TJ makes a soft whimpering sound next to me, like he's trying not to cry, and I finally put my arm around him. It's okay, it's just dark, and we're going off-road somehow. I whisper whatever comes to my mind to explain what the fuck is happening. Carl has his head down in his paws, completely quiet. He could be asleep for all I know. I think about suggesting that maybe we should just wait it out until morning in the car. As I open my mouth, I hear a scratching noise towards the back of the car. TJ's ears perk up, which lets me know I'm not the only one. Instinctively, I turn around in my seat. Bits of glass fly into my face, and the next thing I know, I'm cowering in the seat, head down as far as I can push it. Carl, very much awake now, screams at Leo, "Go! Go! Go!" Leo's already on it, and I feel the car jolt forward. Then I'm bouncing up and down in the seat as we go off-road. Leo not bothering with the 3-point turn this time, instead going for a full U-turn. We're back on the asphalt and speeding down the road, when I feel it's safe enough to raise my head back up and look out the back window. For a moment I'm terrified I'm going to find that thing crouched on the trunk, staring in at us. But instead, all I see is a giant hole through the back window, the remaining glass jagged. "Are you guys okay?" Leo looks back and forth between us and the road ahead of him. I sit up fully. "I think so." I yell at him over the sound of the car and the wind whistling around behind me. Carl is bent over in his seat too, brushing glass from his hat and hoodie. I look at TJ, who's still crouched over in his own seat, covering his head. Bits of glass are scattered on his back and in his head fur. I pick some of the pieces out from the fur on his neck and lean over him. "TJ, are you okay?" TJ shudders and doesn't say anything as I pluck some of the shards from under his collar. "What was that?" Kudzu shouts back at us, staring through the window. "I don't know." I don't want to think about what I actually think it was. Leo keeps up the high speed, hitting some of the potholes hard enough that I'm worried we're going to get a flat. Then we'd be in some real trouble. We drive on for another 5 minutes in silence. And then the headlights of my car appear in front of us again. This time no one says anything and Leo doesn't bother turning around. I watch out my window as we fly past my old car. Duke is still there on the ground, no movement from where he was the last time we saw him. Since this is the area where the creature seems to be prowling, I look out the back window. I want to be ready in case it tries to come through again. But nothing happens. All I see is a small stretch of asphalt illuminated red from the tail lights. All I hear is the wind whipping through my ears. I keep a hand on TJ's back as he continues to remain hunched over. Carl sits quietly staring out his window. On the bright side, the bashed-in back windows diminish the smell of sick. Sparse dots of light show up on the horizon, indicating where Echo is. That's when Leo speaks up. "Alright, what we can do is head back to my house. You guys can get some sleep while I figure out what to do next." Leo pauses, but no one says anything. "Sound good?" "Yeah, not much left to do." Leo grunts and hunches forward in his seat again. There's a sinking feeling in my stomach at the thought of going back to Echo. There is the comfort of at least not being out in the wilderness, but I wonder if that's much worse than the town, especially even with that creature prowling around. I stare out my window, watching the mountains move slowly by under the moonlight as we turn onto Lake Emma Road. I'm wondering if taking one of the mountain roads out of town would be worth it, or if we'd have enough gas. When it happens. A crouched figure sits on the peak of a hill, just about 50 feet from where we are. I squint at it, just barely able to make out what looks like shoulders, a head hunched up under the light of the moon. I'm directly across from the thing when I open my mouth. I'm barely able to make a sound when it moves. It dashes down the hill in the blink of an eye, covering the distance between it and our car in a matter of 2 seconds. One moment I'm staring at a tiny black figure, and the next it's right up against the car, smashing into the side between Leo's door and mine. My head smacks into the glass and I see a flash of white. At the same time I hear Kudzu shout at us to hold on. TJ screams, Carl yells. My feet are fucking freezing. I open my eyes and stare down at them. It's almost too dark to see, but I can hear the sounds of sloshing water and screaming. "Chase! Chase!" What? My head aches and there's something in my eyes that stings. Everything's blurry. "Chase, are you okay?" The big paw prods at my chest and I look up. I can barely make out the outline of ears. Leo? Wait. And it hits me like the car crash we were just in. That thing! I look out my window again where it's all shattered and spiderwebbed. I can see what looks like water pouring through it. At the same time I feel that icy cold sensation running down my back as the water comes through the broken back window like a waterfall. We crashed into the fucking lake. "Chase!" "I'm awake, I'm good." I grabbed my seatbelt, taking way longer than it should to get undone. All the while there's a bizarre, feral yowling sound next to me. I don't realise it's TJ until his claws find my chest and arm and dig in. Ow! TJ, stop! Calm down! He doesn't even respond, continue on that god-awful sound. Through the window! Carl's already up on the rear deck trying to push through the water coming in. Come on! Carl's screaming, panicked voice disappears suddenly. I can only hope it's because he got out. Chase! Chase, come on, we need to get you out! I feel Leo's big paws grabbing at me, but I turn and push them away. I'm fine, let me help TJ. Chase! Leo, I'm a fucking otter! The water at this point is up to my chest. The car's front end is tipped down in the water, and with the sparse moonlight coming in through the back, I can see it's up to Leo's neck. Kudzu is somehow in the back with me and TJ where Carl was. He's staring at me, eyes wide, looking torn between escaping and helping me. Go, Kudzu! Through the window! Leo, go out through your door! Chase! Go! I scream at basically everyone. I can only hope they do as I say as I duck down and the water goes over my head. The quiet piece of underwater is a sharp contrast to the fucking chaos my brain is in. Somehow, in the wreck, the back seat crunched forward and TJ's seatbelt buckle button is lost somewhere in the crease. I grip my teeth. I can hold my breath almost 10 minutes. I know for most other species it's less than 2. Far less if you're panicking out of your mind like TJ is. I grip my teeth as I calmly try to reach between the seat and the back, despite the desperate clawing the lynx is giving me. Again, though, it's far too wedged in to get a hold on. Soon my calm demeanour melts away as I fumble uselessly with the seatbelt and time stubbornly marches on. I feel myself start to panic as I just grab TJ around the body and yank as hard as I can. For it's no use at all, and when I pull on the chest strap it's jammed and I can't get any slack. TJ's grasping and clawing starts to become weaker. I try to think of something to use to cut the strap, there's nothing. Maybe a shard of glass? I move up and away from TJ toward the back window, trying to ignore how he weakly tries to clutch at me. As I reach up to the seat though, my hand slips between the headrest and rear deck. I reach in further and realise it's the trunk of the car. With a lunge I reach down and feel along the bottom of the seat back. My paw runs up against something hard and metal. I know I've found what I'm looking for. I grab the buckle and latch it. Swimming around as quickly as I can, I grab the strap across TJ's chest and set my feet against the seat. I pull back as hard as I can, and just like that, it comes undone. I scoop TJ up, his limp body gives me an extra burst of adrenaline as I set my feet against the back of the driver's seat and push out. My aim is a little off as my head hits the ceiling instead, where I'm able to find the hole pretty quickly and kick through it. It's a little awkward to undulate my body into a nice clean swim with TJ's weight, but I manage it well enough, and within seconds we break the surface. I breathe out into the air while TJ coughs and sputters. His arms wrap around my neck tightly. I have to put a paw under his arm to keep him from strangling me. TJ, we're good, you're good, calm down. I look around and I'm amazed to see how far we are from the shore. It's a good 100 yards away. I can already see Kudzu standing there, and Leo's in the shallows shouting to Carl who's a few feet further in, splashing around. I kick off in that direction as TJ continues to hyperventilate into my ear. TJ, it's okay. Remember when you used to ride on my back in the lake? It's like that, like old times? I try to adopt a soothing tone between my ragged gasps for air. TJ does finally settle on my back, though his arms are still around my neck. Still a lot better than dragging me down with him. His gasps calm down as we get closer to the shore, tapering off into a weird sort of mumbling sound. I can make out a few words though, and one of them is a name. Sydney. I frown and swim a bit faster, wanting to get him to dry land so he can get his wits back together. Meanwhile, Carl finally grabs onto Leo's outstretched paws. The wolf pulls him back to shore. All the while he stares at me and TJ intently. He didn't deserve. Shh. I shush him gently as I finally feel my toes find the sandy bottom of the lake. I gently pull the lynx back with me to the narrow strip of sand between the lake and the incline that slopes up to the road. Carl's already there, flat on his back, spread eagle, so I do the same with TJ, laying him down right next to the ram. He's still trying to talk though. Jace, did Sydney? How long did he? Gently put a paw over the lynx's muzzle. It's alright, man. Try to relax. Breathe. Kudzu stands next to me and starts to reach out to touch my shoulder. You okay? and then a much larger paw comes out from behind me, pushing Kudzu's arm aside as I'm pulled back into a tight hug. Leo huffs into my ear. Thank God, you're under for so long. I'm okay. I reach back with a paw, setting it against the side of Leo's face. When I bring it back, I see it's a bit darker than it should be. I look back and immediately see the gash on the side of Leo's face. Shit, your head. Leo brushes off my paws. Your head. I think we both hit our windows when something hit us. I reach up, feeling around my forehead before I feel a sore, sticky spot in my fur. It isn't a bad cut, but it's definitely leaking a good amount of blood. It was that thing we saw next to Duke. I saw it standing on a hill and it just ran at us. I look over at Kudzu, who's moved to stand over Carl, his arms hugging his chest tightly. Kudzu, are you okay? I'm fine. His response is tense and a little high-pitched. I don't know about Carl, though. He had a little trouble swimming back. Carl lets out a choked cough in response. I gently pull away from Leo and kneel down next to the ram between him and TJ. He's conscious, luckily, though his panting is a bit shallow. I set a paw gently on his head. You okay? Yeah. He says it's like he's asking me a question. You sure? I mean, yeah, I'm breathing. I didn't mean to leave you guys, but it's fine. Staying with us would have made things way worse. Strange to me how collected I am right now. I guess it's the same numbing feeling that I felt since escaping Brian's trailer. Just take the fucked up stuff in and roll with it. I'm not bad at swimming, but it's so fucking cold. My clothes felt like £1,000,000. Looking at his thick sweater isn't a surprise at all. TJ's quieted down next to me. His eyes are open, staring up at the sky as he chuffs quietly. They're so wide and glassy I can see the reflection of the stars twinkling in them. I tentatively reach out and rest a paw on his head like I did with Carl. TJ barely reacts, continuing to stare up at the sky. Teach? I feel Leo's huge presence crunch down next to me as he gets close and whispers into my ear. Listen, we should get going to my house. I don't like being out here, especially if that thing really did do it. But TJ, I don't know if he's able. I'll carry him. And he does, scooping the lynx up into his arms like he's a baby. Alright, come on. We can rest at my house. Let's just get the fuck out of here. Leo starts trekking up the rocky slope. Kudzu and I wait for Carl, who lays on the ground a moment longer, before finally rolling over and getting laboriously to his feet. I hold one hand and Kudzu holds the other. Together we make our way onto the road and back into Echo. The walk to Leo's house is short, only about 15 minutes, but it feels like it takes much, much longer than that. Every tiny sound makes me jump, and I'm steeling myself the moment I see that creature again. Nothing happens though. No screaming and no gunshots. Aside from the crickets, the town is dead quiet. Still, we keep to the shadows, getting through some backyards and sagebrush, probably picking up dozens of spiders and ticks along the way. It's funny. Despite everything that's going on, spiders are the biggest thing that are on my mind as I push through the branches and foliage. Finally, the wolf's small house appears out of the dusty dark night. Leo walks ahead of us with TJ. TJ has to walk on his own halfway here, and now he's clinging to Leo's hand like a kid afraid of getting lost at the mall. I don't blame him. As we're walking up to the house though, Leo stops. Kudzu, Carl and I crowd behind him. What is it? Leo puts a finger to his lips and points at the window on the side of his house. It's broken. Shit. Leo lets go of TJ's hand and makes a stay here motion with the other as he starts creeping toward the house. With some difficulty and a few awkward sounds, Leo pulls his gun out of his wet pants. I scream internally at the thought of Leo going in alone, but he's the only one with a weapon now. Apparently Kudzu has lost his during the whole lake incident, which Leo is pretty pissed about. Leo tries the door, then disappears inside, reaching out to make sure the screen door doesn't bang shut behind him. Then he was gone. We stand there in the silence a moment, then Kudzu whispers, Hey, let's stand back to back just in case. Yeah, okay. Kudzu turns toward the road while I face towards Leo's house. Carl and TJ stand on either side of us. TJ hasn't said a word since Leo put him down. Ever since what happened at the lake, something in him snapped. Maybe we should have just gone up to my place. Carl gazes up sadly towards the mountains, his mansion somewhere hidden in the darkness. I don't know. Someone broke into Leo's place to steal stuff. They definitely want to do the same to yours. No, in this town, Kudzu is probably right. Most of the people here resented Carl's family in the way the mansion looked over the whole town. Like they're taunting us, people would say. I keep my eyes on the house, trying to see through the black windows. Leo hasn't turned any of the lights on, of course, so I can't really see anything. Listening doesn't bring in any clues, though. So, what do you guys think that thing was? I don't know. I still think it was some kind of animal. It practically bent the car in half. I say that at the side of my mouth, away from TJ. Maybe we should go inside. Probably safer in there, even if there is a burglar or whatever. Didn't the mayor say something about it? Like it only kills us if we're trying to leave? I glance back at Kudzu. Is that what she was talking about? Kudzu shakes his head and shrugs his shoulders. I really don't know, Chase. So we go back to waiting. I'm about to mention that maybe we should move close to the house, just in case, when we hear a scream. It comes from inside Leo's house. It definitely doesn't sound like Leo. Carl squeaks next to me. Shit! I'm already running up the stairs, though, when I hear the others following closely behind me. I push through the door, almost running headlong into the bench where you're supposed to take off your shoes. Leo? I shout just as I realise it's probably a bad idea. A moment passes where the only sound I can hear is the heavy breathing of my friends behind me. Then, down here, turn on the lights. His voice comes from the hallway and it's calm. I move a paw along the wall before finding the light switch, revealing the kitchen. We move down the hallway towards Leo's room where I can see that the light is on. Inside I find Leo standing over his own bed. In the bed I see someone else. A little polecat, shevelled in a tank top, looking even more skeletal than usual. It's Clint, curled up in a little ball, cowering. Leo has his gun pointed on him. Wait, please don't shoot me. I just needed a place to stay. Leo inches the gun lower. Then why aren't you at your own place? Kudzu and Carl stand next to me while TJ stays in the doorway, gazing in at us from the dim hallway. Leo raises his gun again and I actually think he's about to shoot Clint. Clint raises his paws, whining. Leo, wait. He helped me find Chase. What? Leo glances at Kudzu and then back at Clint. He came up to my door last night, told me he saw Chase in the trailer. I'm confused too. I guess I never asked Kudzu how exactly he was able to find me. My mind immediately flashes back to when I saw Clint peering at me from the trailer, asking Brian for drugs. I might not have found Chase if he hadn't told me. Clint nods enthusiastically to that, but Leo doesn't lower the gun. Wait, Leo. Clint hasn't done anything to hurt us since this started. Just... everyone's gone fucking crazy. Might as well get rid of him before he gets a chance at it too. What? What are you doing, Leo? Leo's got a hardened look on his face they don't recognise at all. Wait! I know how to get out of here, I think. Leo's stance falters, but only just. What do you mean? That's why I'm here. Just get the gun off me for a second, I'll explain. Clint is twitching, keeps scratching his chest and arms. It comes off like he's able to find those drugs after all. Come on, Leo. It's all of us against him. He can't do anything to us. Leo keeps the gun up for a few seconds, then finally lowers it with a dismissive grunt. All right, fine. How are we supposed to get out of here? Clint slowly pushes himself up to sit against the frame of Leo's bed, clearing his throat. Well, I think it might have something to do with the train yard. To be continued. Okay, so if you're wondering what's happening next, it's kind of down to Howley and the team. So next time they release a public update, which will update Leo's route, I will do another video. We'll carry on. Patreon updates, yeah, I'll see him, but I'm not going to share them till they're ready. So I don't know when that will be, but I will definitely update it. And in the meantime, I have to double check something with one particular person to get the okay. But there may be another Echo related video up soon. I'm not going to say any more than that. I need to check on that one. But again, thanks for listening. The Stat.